Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world away, and today I'm going to be doing stages 59 to 62 of the Hachette Partworks build the Doctor Who Dalek. Some of these are really big stages. Exterminate! So over on my wall over here, I've got the whole base of the Dalek, which is what we're going to be working on today. In fact, the first thing we're going to be doing today is we're actually going to be finishing off some of these rollers that we've been working on here. These are going to get attached, so basically the bottom section of the Dalek will be complete. And I can't believe that we're already in the 60s on this build. Only seems like yesterday that it first started. I don't think this is still available though, but I have put a link in the video description. You do have that QR code on the screen. But without further ado, let's get cracking. Now, I'm in the fortunate position to have watched other people's builds of these stages, so I've got some tips that I've learned from those other people, so hopefully I won't go wrong today. But this is the World of Wayne channel, and going wrong is part of my thing. Anyway, as you can see, we've got some LEDs here and a circuit board, which we're going to start mounting into this reflector. If you remember, we didn't fit this last time. That looks like that. That came in the last pack, so I've got that all ready to go. And then I am bringing over this massive base, which means I'm going to have to zoom out all my cameras, testing each LED thing with the board here. And I've got my tester board and the little PCB tester that came with it. And that's all we're doing in that stage. So let's get this open. Again, with Hachette Partworks, a little bit like the SAS Jeep from Agora Models. Everything's in paper bags. There's not really much plastic, which is good. Okay, so this is what the PCB board looks like. On the other side of it, as you can see, look, we've got some sort of that sensor or an LED. I don't know. Could be an IR sensor. Don't know. Could be an LED. Looks like an LED. I want to bring over this reflective panel here, and as you can see, we've got two notches just onto these sides just here. And that's going to mean when I mount this board, I want to mount this into the position just like this here. So that these two ports here, as you see, this goes around in a U, are pointing towards this bottom notch. Now I've got some AP screws to put that in with. Get these in with PCB boards, just put them in till they're tight. Don't over tighten them, you don't want to crack this board. So 4 screws going in here, which does mean that I am left with quite a few screws that we're not using on this stage. So what I'm going to do is just put these AP screws to the far side over here so I don't lose them. Because we are finished with this section now. And now I'm going to test all of these LEDs here. So first things first, I'm going to just take this adapter I've got off here. And I'm going to be plugging this into my test board. And then we'll just line up all of these LEDs to test. They're actually going to go in this port here which says LED. Plug it in. And then turn on the battery box. And as you can see, it's sort of pulsating a blue, well, it's a purple light to me. I hope it's meant to be purple. Okay, so that's that one done. Now, each of these LEDs does have a different number on the plug. This one says L2. Let's continue going down the list. This one's L1, working absolutely fine. This one's L4. And again, no problems at all. And then finally, L3, which is working absolutely perfectly as well. Now I'm getting space, zooming cameras up as far as I possibly can, because I've got to bring that base over. And that is looking just like this here. So I'm going to grab a lead and checking the number on the lead. This one is L3. L3 is going to be going into this far side over here with the wire pointing towards the front, and it's held in with these AP screws. So let's work my way on the other LEDs now. L2 is going to go right at the front here with the wire going off in this direction. L1 is on this side with the wire going off in this direction here. Obviously make sure the LEDs are facing down. Which means the last one is L4. And again, the wire is going to be going off in this direction over here. Putting this last screw in here, that is all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 60, I think we're going to be finishing the other rollers that we have been working on here, because we do have another motor. So here is the magazine, and I will zoom the cameras back up again in a second. As you can see, we're putting the motor in here. We're going to put this hemisphere that we've put on here of the roller, and then putting the other side in. So we do have another completed rail. So once again, let's get this one open. Bring over the rail that we were working on, which looks just like this here. What I'm going to be doing, unraveling the wire here, and I want to put this in underneath here, probably best on the top camera, just onto that section like that. Now this is going to be held in with DM screws, and we're going to need 4 of these. Last one just going in here. And then I want to take the hemisphere that we've been working on before and put this over. Now it is shaped, so we need to make sure we put it in the right way, because one side is flat. So that will fit nicely all the way down there. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting an EM screw down here to hold that side in. But what we're going to do is we're going to be putting a washer and then a split washer on first. So basically it's the split washer first, which is going to go on the screw. Then the normal washer, load up my screwdriver, and I'll get this into place, which means I'm going to have to do it in this way, otherwise gravity's not going to like me very much. But I have got that in. Get this nice and tight, just like that. Excellent. Then I'm going to be putting this part of the hemisphere on. Remember, this shaft inside, the actual block that goes in the middle of this is actually down this end, not this end. Line up the holes and get this into place. Perfect. And then I'm holding these in with LP screws. And I'm going to need 4 of these, so I get all 4 of these in place. Now I was just wondering then, are they going to give me a chance to test this? And yes, they will be. So I'm just going to get that nice and tight. Again, bring over my test board with this little lead here. Make sure it's plugged in. Take it off of the test board, and I'm going to be plugging the motor directly into this. And then when I turn this on, hopefully that should rotate. Excellent. Nice and quiet as well. Perfect. That's all there is to do in that stage. Now looking at this stage here, which is stage 61, there is a lot to do. Most people who have done their videos, this can go into like the half-hour mark. So there's some fiddly stuff as well. So let's see exactly what we are doing. I know we've got some fiddly ideas for screws, but I've been watching John's model making channel, so I'm hoping that's going to make it a little bit easier for me. We will see. But what we've got all of this here, but we're actually going to be mounting this into this bottom skirt piece, and then we're actually going to be securing this down with screws, and this is where things get a little bit fiddly around here. Once we've done that, we're actually going to connect all the wires up. Then we're going to be putting these surrounds in here. There's a load to do. It's the whole bottom basically that's being completed, and this is the actual floor plate that goes over. It's sort of like a rolled up bit of acrylic, but we'll look at that in the next stage. So let's just get everything out here. Okay, so the first thing I need is these shafts here, and I'm going to thank Kevin the Nexus for this tip, and that is we've got these bearings to put on here, and what I want to do is put the bearings on first. So I'm just going to put them on these shafts here, just like that. What I want to do is I want to have them so that there's only a little gap at the this end. Eventually when they go on, if I get this one in here, they're going to be sitting in those rollers with that amount showing. Get the last one in. There we go, that's how they're looking. Just going to put them to one side. Okay, I'm going to bring over that bottom skirt again, which is looking like this. And the first set of rollers I need are these ones here. Now I believe these are the, are they labelled? They're labelled A and B on the brackets here. Now what we're going to want to do is these shafts that we've just had, I'm going to want to put them into here. but I don't want to put them in all the way. We want to push them in, but I want to leave about that much out, as you can see. Let's do the next one. Perfect. So as you can see, that's how that's looking. Now this is going to be sitting in the position onto the holes that we can see here. Kind of like that. But obviously this is going to need to be lifted to get these in. So these are going to be fixed in with these screws and nuts. Now these are Allen head screws. So I do have the Allen key for this. It's going to be easy to do the ones on the outside here and the ones on the outside here. It's going to be a pain to do the ones on the inside. So let's do the outside ones first. So as you can see, I can put the screw through here, put this over the top, and then put a nut on the other side and tighten this up. So I've got one in that side. Let's just put one in this side as well. Find if you put the nut gently on top, just balance it on, it should catch quite easily. I'll put the ones in next to it, because as you can see they are held in by two. Get the other one in over this side. I'm going to cheat now and use my wow stick. John's model building came up with a great idea for doing the ones that are in these holes here and here. And basically what he did was put the bolts in here, or the screws in this side. Do the same over here. Let's get that all the way through. And then he just used some tape just over the top to stop them coming out. So that when I turn this over, all I'm worried about is getting the nuts onto the stalks here. Now you might have to push this down to expose the whole lot here. But as you can see, it is fiddly. But it works a treat. And what I'll do is if I put all the nuts on first, see, that's two done there. Let's do the two on this side. But there you go, all four of mine are in place, which means now turn this over, take off this tape because these aren't going anywhere. I can put my finger behind here to hold these into place and just tighten them all up like this. So that is all into place there. I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. You do want to make sure when you do this you don't trap any wires under there. All the wires need to be able to go into this center section here. And there you go. All of those are in place. Very happy there. So what I'm going to do now, turn this over, and as you can see these rollers now are this way round, fully in position, and I'm going to be putting in this center section here. Now the way this goes in is with these notches towards the back, so they're going to be sitting in just like that. And I've got these MP4 black screws which are going to be securing this in from the other side. So if I keep it that way, I can actually hold it by the PCB board here just to get that started in there. So we're actually holding it into these points just here. So let me just get these screws in. And then it's a case of plugging all of these wires into their like sections. So as you can see, this one is L3. So I'll be plugging that in L3 and they go over the top of these rails here. So every wire we see, just put it in its home. I've now got these surrounds to go into place. So what they're going to do is they're going to fit into the positions underneath here, and if you have a look on the top camera how this goes, it's going to fit in just like that. And once again, it's held in with these black screws. When I do put this in, I want to make sure that the bearing is sitting in there, in the little cradle. I'm going to freestyle it a little bit and just break with what the instructions are telling me to do, just so I can demonstrate one of these rollers, and then that way, I'll just bring this down here. You don't have to watch me do the other three because they're exactly the same way. But once that's in position and the bearing is in that little cradle there, I'm going to take one of these brackets and put this over the top. That's going to stop that bearing moving now. And I'm going to be putting them in with BP screws. And that is how you affix these rollers to the base. I'm going to repeat that 3 more times. And with this last screw just going into place, that's all there is to do in that stage. That was a massive stage, but as you can see, we've done absolutely loads. So the final stage of this pack is actually the biggest box, but there isn't really much to do in this stage. As you can see, here's the magazine, looking like this. And we've just got this massive plate, and we've got these foam lifters. It's got one sticky side, the other side isn't sticky because all it's doing is just adding a bit of a cushion between this. So we're going to be putting these into position here, and then we're just going to be lying this over the top. That's all we're doing. We're not sticking this down or anything like that at the moment. That is what's coming in the next stage. So just bringing up this bottom section again, and I'll tell you now, this is heavy. I want it this way round. And I'm going to be putting these into position. So we're going to have one here, one here, one over here, and just mirror on the other side. Perfect. Now if we open this sheet here, you can see it's a large section of acrylic. We've got a glossy side and we've got a matte side. I'm trying to think which side's more glossy to me. Okay, I'm guessing the textured side. This is more like, forget glossy and stuff, it's a textured side and a smooth side. I believe the smooth side is what's going to be facing down. So when this goes on, this is going to be fitting kind of like this over the top of these sections here, so that we've got the textured side facing this side just like that. But that's how that's going to be going into position here. Now I don't think I've got a way to keep this in at the moment, but for storage purposes, if I was to put this on top, and I am just going to line up where this kind of goes now, I'm hoping that's going to give you an idea of how that's going to look. But that is all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. That was very enjoyable. And we do have a bottom of a Dalek now. I'm probably going to put some painter's tape just around the outside so I can keep that frame on. And I think that's going to help where that sheet's been rolled up from sort of like rolling back on itself again. But very good. Lots to do today. Filming time exactly an hour, believe it or not. But I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.